So we recently had a triathlete reach out to us, and his primary concern was he didn't run well off of the bike in his last race. And so one of the things that we will do is we will look at an athlete's physiology. Because yes, sometimes it is the run, but often it's actually linked to what's happening on the bike. So just to give you some context to this athlete, this is 2 weeks. We tested the athlete 2 weeks after his race. He reached out to us a week after his race because he fell apart on the run, and he thought, I just need help putting this together. So the reason I bring that up is because this physiological data is recent. It's recent based on where he was at when he first reached out. And just to give you some context behind this, this shows the upper and lower ranges of power output and the lactate concentration in steady state conditions, which typically an Ironman or a Half Ironman should be steady state. And this shows the metabolic demand and the lactate concentration that these various power ranges will create. And so this particular athlete, he rode at a power output of 225 for his Half Ironman. And if we look here, that would put us in this range, right, from 224 to 230. He fits right in that range, and that's a lactate concentration of 2.8 millimoles per liter. And that's a metabolic demand of 155 grams of carbohydrates per hour. So just as a reference, for a 70.3, we will typically have our athletes race at a concentration of anywhere from 1.6 to 2.3. That's about the range for most 70.3 triathletes. The more established running history they have, and the more efficient they are running, we can hover closer to the 2.3. So just some context. Now, the reason this is important is because, once again, he reached out to us because he thought, my run is just, it's not coming together. But when we look at his data here, we can see that at a power of 225 watts, he's going through 155 grams of carbohydrates per hour. At 155 grams per hour, that's a lot of carbohydrates that you're burning through. And his fueling rate, he was fueling at about 90 to 95 grams per hour. So every hour of the bike, he was burning through about 60 to 67, 68 grams of carbs per hour, times a little over 2.5 hours. That's almost a 650 calorie drain on his glycogen stores. Now, if he had an established running history and he consistently ran well off of the bike, maybe he could get away with that. But without that established history, without that established efficiency on the run, that's what did him in. That's what kept him from running to his potential. So, obviously hindsight, right? So if we look back, if we were able to give him a suggested power output before his race, if we were working with him going into his race, our recommendation would have been, okay, we want you at a lactate concentration, remember 1.6 to like 2.3, right? So without a history of running well off of the bike, we're going to stay close. We're going to stay below 2.0 millimoles of lactate. And so that's let's just call it 1.8 for if we're just looking at this chart, and that gives them a target of about 200 watts. On the upper range, 212, so 200 to 210 is a wattage target that we would have recommended. That would have been an energy drain of about 102 grams of carbohydrates per hour. If he's fueling at 90 to 95 grams, that's a minimal drain on his glycogen stores. Yes, it's a little bit of a drain, but not much. He would have gone into the running much better, and he would have had an overall better performance with this approach. Yes, he would have given up some time on the bike, but it would have actually benefited him on the run portion of his race. So these are things that we are looking at when we're having an athlete race. It's not just, go out and push watts and pace yourself and stay steady. Yes, those principles are important, but when we have an athlete who's consistent, who puts in the work, who puts in the training, who sticks to the program, we're able to pretty closely predict what they're going to be able to run and what they're going to be able to ride at in terms of power. If lactate levels are elevated, if you're riding at an intensity where lactate levels are elevated, this is going to cost big time on the run. And a lot of athletes will look to the run as a source of the problem, but in reality, it happens before that. Not for everybody, but for a lot of people. So this is one way that we're able to really go after what's holding an athlete back. So if you are interested in in working with us to develop a program, develop a plan that's going to be ideal for your scenario, whether it's Half Ironman or Ironman, reach out to us. There's a link below. You can schedule a time to chat, and we'd love to just hear about your goals and what you'd like to achieve for this season. All right, have a good one.